Hi everyone, sorry it's taken me so long to get another video uploaded or even filmed. I've sort of been very consumed with watching YouTube to learn about this new copper thing that is happening in the States to protect children. I still don't understand any of it, so I'm sorry, I'm not an expert on that at all. But during that time I was doing some collages to try and keep my mind going. It really is a difficult thing to think about, but the only thing that I can think of is that my videos are not aimed at children and I don't make money on my channel. I'm really just filming these things to share with others who are like-minded. I hope I'm not offending anybody. I don't collect data. I don't use information. I don't even know who watches my videos anyway, so I'm not deliberately going out to hurt anybody or, target children in any case. Although, like I said, I don't even know who watches my videos. Maybe some kids are sitting next to their mum while she's watching them. I'm not sure. But this is just what I've been trying to do to keep myself occupied and still keep crafty. Otherwise, you just lose your mojo too quickly and you start suffering from that white page thing. So these are just very simple. I used a new cutting template that I purchased at a show recently, which I really like. Didn't think it was going to be what I wanted, but this gold is just the joss paper. I think it's Chinese funeral paper, and that came out really nice with some marbled paper behind and just a I think that's a freebie off one of the ephemera sites, and she's quite good just on paper, on music, with some borders, but that's all, and that'll get stuck into one of my books at some point. This is an old one that I found, well, I'm still cleaning up the studio, but this is an old one that I found that I started on something else that I didn't like the way I'd mounted it, so I just pulled it off the mount and had a look in here. There's a bit of writing here that says, nothing but time. Eventually, and 26 in Roman numerals. You'll probably see a lot of 26 or 62 on my work, as if I try to include it in some way on some things, not on everything, but I mean, I could, I suppose, but this is fine. It just relates to me, both of those numbers relate to me. Here's another that I just did on some wallpaper book. I've been given some wallpaper books which have fabulous card in them, so I've sort of not torn them apart, but pulled them apart, and I think it didn't get tea stained, but that's just got some tissue stuck on it, some dress pattern tissue as well, and this little bird, or these two birds rather, are from a serviette, or is it from, can't remember, might be from the Tim Holtz paper with the little birds on it. I can't think at the moment. I think it might be a serviette. Now I'm not sure if you can actually see, but I have stamped over the entire thing with a crackle stamp. See if I've got it here, I'll show you. Here it is. So it's just a stamp with the crackle image, or print on it, and I've just done that in gold and stamped over the entire thing with gold ink. It's hard to see, I guess, on the camera. I can't see if you can see it, but it's kind of cool. I like it because I didn't have any crackle paint. Not that I would go to that extent on that, I don't think. Here is another collage that I tore out of something else that I have discovered that I made years ago. Obviously I had something to do with time on my hands. I don't know why, but I've just called this one Another Time, because she's, I think one of Da Vinci's or Michelangelo's. I can't remember now. Isn't that terrible? So this has a piece of tape here. I made this or dyed this piece of fabric and then covered it with, you can see here it says McCall, so maybe you can't see it, but it's just got some pattern paper over it, and then I dyed it again, or dipped it into the tea bath again and painted here and there, so it's kind of nice and stiff, and I just attached to this collage that I made. I've also embellished here. I must have torn something off here because there was a big missing bit. Now this here, I tore this paper or this fabric thinking that that would be big enough, but it really wasn't, so I had to stick it back on there a bit and stick it together. So there you go. Sort of adds to it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And I put a crown on her because she looks, I don't know, a little regal. So there's that one. And this one, again, the from the wallpaper book. You know, the pages that they have showing the wallpaper in use are on this beautiful card that I just reused. It's a bit of printing up here, but that's all right. And here's from tissue paper. This is also tissue paper. And I've just sort of did a bit of a rusty painting technique on some cogs and stuck that on because, you know, he's a man, he should know about cogs. This one here is really got a lot of layers on it. It's quite stiff, can't really bend it, which is kind of good. This was handmade paper that was also tea stained. This was wallpaper, textured wallpaper. Very old one that I had kicking around in the studio that I painted black and just did some rub-ons over. I think you can also see here there was a bit of embossing down here with some different colours. And just, you know, big thick piece of watercolour paper here. Just something else under here with some tissue stuck on. This is some of that nice little Japanese type tissue paper. It really, I wanted to tea stain that, but it kind of dissolves in water, if you know what I mean. And then just some embellishments here, some fringing. So that's that one. Here, oh, see, 62. Yeah, that's just a rub-on. Onto a bit of that fabric. Where was it? Oh yes, that one with the fabric that I just tore off and stuck on here. And you'll see on the front of this little folder that I've created, I used some of it on there too. It was a bag from a show that I went to a while ago, but it was made from hemp, which is beautiful, and it dyes really well in the tea bath. I mean, you could change any colour. Now this I just was sitting down, you know, this was done, this pattern here, or this mark making here was done with some sun printing. So I had dyed or dipped the card and laid over it a plastic doily table runner thing, and left it out in the sun, and that's the result of it, which was really kind of cool. So I liked that. I've been using that technique a lot lately, just doing some sun dyeing. You can see here behind the trees, it's the same technique. And because, as I was just doing this is a bit of an old rub-on that I had in the drawer. Just used that up before I threw it away. Little bits of tissue and some gauze here. This was just an edge of another piece that I was using. I think it was a dictionary page. There's also another bit of dictionary there. So lots of little bits and pieces. And as I was putting it together, I'm thinking, oh, none of this really goes together. So I just put here unrelated. I don't know why, but it made me feel better about this mismatched bits and pieces with no theme really, other than, you know, the colour or the related colours. That's that one. This one here again is that wallpaper, that textured wallpaper that I painted black. It was a funny creamy color. I'm just looking around to see if I can see another piece of it to show you what it was like originally. And I tore it down here. This is one of Seth Apato's dyes that I ran through the machine with some shim, old shim that I had kicking around. Then I took it inside, turned on my gas stove and heated it up to change the colour here and there on it. It worked out quite well. This one here looks a bit oil slick, which is kind of cool. And obviously music, dictionary. And this butterfly is from a serviette. So that's kind of cool. Now this next one is the leftover bits from this that I used in this particular one, which is also a just on the black. I painted the black same here, but didn't really do anything to it other than on the edges, just with some of that treasure gold. Again, the joss paper here, and like I said, that's the leftover cuts of that. And I did the same with this on the stove. Just took it to the stove and held it over. You've got to be careful. Sometimes there's little bits hanging off the edge and they sort of flame a bit, but you know, it's only for quick. You can just blow it out quickly or turn the stove off. But this here, don't know if you can see, I was doing the papers again, which again is from the wallpaper book. And as I was bringing it in, and I dyed this at the same time, and as I was bringing it in, it was raining, so there's a few raindrops on it. And I thought, oh, well, that was kind of nice, just to get a bit of nature's input. So there's those two. And here's the last one. Now, like I said, I've been cleaning up the studio a bit, so I'm discovering all sorts of treasures. This was something that I did a long time ago. I can't even tell you how long, and I don't even know why I didn't go on with this particular journal that I was doing. So I just took the page out and added to it. Again, a Seth Apter stamp on there, because butterflies change from, you know, grubs to butterflies or caterpillars or whatever they are. So that sort of relates to that for me. And here, this was also in one of my other journals. I pulled that out and used that in here too, because I like the different text there. So that's that one. But I'll show you the cover of this here. This is just a piece of watercolour paper that I stained with tea as well in the tea bath, and left a table runner, one of those plastic table runners on it out in the sun. And this is the result that I got, which is kind of nice because it didn't sort of catch everywhere. So it looks a bit, you know, watermarked or aged in any case. This here was the handle from the bag that I was talking about before, the hemp bag that I was talking about before. And I thought I will stitch that on, and well, I didn't stitch it through. I just glued it on, but it looks stitched because that was from the handle, the original stitching. Now, when I was just using the alphabet stamps to do the wording here, I used a different L under here, but it looked like an I. So I've stamped a different one because Collection, that's what it looked like it spelled. So I thought, no, that's not right. I don't like that. So I did an extra L and just stitched it on top here. And here I also made a mistake when I was writing collage. The A that I chose was actually an upside down G. So when I stamped it there, it just looked like a back to front A, and I thought, oh, that looks just a bit too odd. So I did the same thing here and stamped an A. This is just done with like black gesso onto the big rubber stamps that I've got, and they're a different font, obviously, in a lot of different. So there's a lot of combinations that you could have, which was good. This was also from the bag. It was a tea stained, and I stuck on some tissue paper just with some gel medium, and as the spine, because when I folded this, it's really heavy duty watercolor paper. When I folded it cracked all down here. So this is a lot of little mistakes on this cover. So it cracked all the way down here, and I thought, damn, that doesn't look good. So I had this, and I thought I'll use that just to cover it. So I mended it just with some masking tape underneath, and then stitched that on. And I did stitch that on. You can see the stitching here, and just folded over the excess. So that's how I'm going to collect my. Sorry, just banged the frame that's holding that. Hope that didn't wobble too much. So that's what I'll keep my collages in that I'm making while I'm trying to figure out this other business. Now, if I don't know about this copper thing, but I sort of think if I'm not making money on the channel, which was not my intention in any case, I really just wanted to share my work, then I should be okay. So I will upload this and hopefully check all the right boxes so I'm not making a target of myself. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and again, sorry it took so long. Okay, bye for now.